July 4th, 1776. The day brave delegates decided or proved that they were done living under someone else's rules. Are you living under someone else's rules? Are you free? I mean, in your business, in your life, are you free? Because many portrait photographers may feel that they're not, may feel that they are, and don't know that they're not. They may feel like someone else's rules are still shaping their business, holding them back. Maybe through prices that insult their talent. Maybe it's clients that drain their creative energy tank. Maybe it's a voice in their head that says, "Are you good enough?" There's a lot of things that take away from your independence. Those things aren't freedom. And you know it. So let's change that. This is your declaration of independence today. Hey there, Lens Legends, and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profit Show, where we focus on the business side of photography. I'm your host, Jim Landers, your guide on the business side. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. For Digital Pro Lab, Amanda and her amazing, wonderful team are going to make you look like a hero to your clients. They make everything easy. They do everything right. And if it's not right, they'll fix it. But I've never had that problem personally, but I know they would. Amanda hires fantastic people. They enjoy what they do. They love what they do. They are there for their career, not here today, gone tomorrow, like at most or many other businesses. Now, Amanda hires fantastic people, and you'll see that if you go in. Now, you can order online at digitalprolab.com, or you could go into their office, just off of San Pedro in San Antonio, Texas. Either way, man, you are going to be treated like a hero, and your clients are going to feel it. Go to digitalprolab.com and see the difference that Digital Pro Lab can make in your life. The show is also sponsored by Landers Photography School. And Landers Photography School, that's my business. I teach both the photography side as well as the business side. And I encourage you to reach out to me because I am happy to spend some of my time with you, finding out where you're headed and maybe help you on the path that gets you there. And I'll even do that for a free session. Just reach out to me at jim@portraitprofits.com, jim@portraitprofits.com, and tell me you'd like to visit with me. We'll set up a Zoom call and we'll talk. jim@portraitprofits.com. And if you want a class, we'll talk about that as well. Either way, reach out to me, jim@portraitprofits.com. I encourage you to make comments throughout this lesson today and ask questions. Speaking of making comments, I want you to go to the comment section right now and enter in hashtag live. Hashtag live. That tells me that you're watching right now on either Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or LinkedIn. We're simulcast to several different places. Hashtag live. Telling me you're watching live. Now, if you're watching the replay, enter in hashtag replay. I also request one thing, and that's you share the Portrait Profit Show. Let other people know that it exists. That's how it's going to grow, because we don't spend any money on advertising. This is totally free to you. So share it with others. For those of us who live in the United States, and not everyone watching the show lives in the United States, they may be aware that July 4th is our Independence Day. But if they don't live here, it may not be part of their norm. So for those of us in the United States, July 4th is connected to freedom, independence, and the founding story of this country. This year carries additional meaning because July 4th, 2026 marked the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. This is a remarkable milestone. It gives us a useful moment to reflect on more than history. It gives us a chance to think about ownership, direction, courage, responsibility, and the future we are choosing and taking control of. The principle we're talking about today reaches far beyond one country or one date on the calendar. Every professional photographer, no matter where they live, eventually faces a personal question. What is shaping the future of my business? I don't start off with that question. They evolve into it. What is shaping the future of my business? Is it comparison to other photographers? Is it fear? Is it prices borrowed from other photography businesses? Is it clients who don't seem to value your work? Is it assumptions that you've never stopped to question? Or is it a clear decision about the life I am building and the business that will help me reach it? Those questions matter because a photography business doesn't have, it doesn't become freeing simply because you own a photography business. It can cause additional problems by owning a business. A person can be self-employed and still feel controlled by every inquiry, every price objection, every slow season, every post that gets no attention, every competitor who seems to be doing something better than you, and every doubt that shows up before an important decision. Business freedom comes from ownership. The ownership begins when we are willing to define where we are going. Ownership begins when we are willing to define where we're going. Now, some of you have heard me talk about the Landers principle before. The Landers principle. And for those of you who haven't, I'll give it to you in one sentence. Your photography business is a tool to help you reach your ideal life. That's it. Your photography business is a tool to help you reach your ideal life. The business itself is not the destination. The business is a tool. It's the structure you build so that your talent, your time, your creativity, your client experience, your income, your decision-making are all moving you towards the life you're intentionally creating. That means the destination has to come first before you can decide which prices make sense, which clients are the right fit, which opportunities deserve your yes, I want to do that, and which ones deserve a gracious no, that's not for me. You need to know what kind of life the business is supposed to support. So those decisions just come naturally. They don't have feeling associated with it. It just makes sense. Without that destination, too many paths look reasonable. And you don't have time for all the different paths that look reasonable. Without it, every suggestion sounds possible. Every opportunity can feel like it might be one that you should take. But once the destination becomes clear, the right road begins to stand out. In fact, the right roads just seem to glow. That's where we're going today. We're going to use the declaration or the anniversary of the Declaration of Independence as a teaching tool for your photography business. We will look at 3 areas where many photographers give away more ownership than they realize: pricing, clients, and belief in the value of their own work. We'll bring those ideas together by writing a Declaration of Independence for your business. That's what we'll do by the end of this lesson. Something that helps you take clearer ownership of your direction, your decisions, and the life your business is here to support. So let's move on to the first chapter. Which is the freedom to define your own destination. Now, before we talk about prices, clients, marketing, confidence, or any of the decisions that show up in a photography business, we have to begin with a more basic question. Who has been given authority over your decisions? Okay, that sounds like a dramatic question, but it is practical. Every business has a governing force. Something is shaping the way you price, the way your clients accept, the hours you work, the offers you create, the way you speak about your value, and the opportunities that you're willing to say yes to. Ideally, those decisions are governed by a clear picture of the life you're building and the business required to support it. But when that picture is unclear, other forces tend to step in. Comparison starts governing. Fear starts governing. Busy seasons versus not so busy seasons start governing. Price objections start governing. Social media reactions start governing. A random comment from another photographer's what they're trying to do starts governing. A difficult client from, I don't know, years ago can still be governing decisions that you're making today if you never stopped to take that authority back. That is why defining your destination is just not something you may choose to do, some soft exercise. No, it's an act of ownership. It's what you do, assuming you want to be successful. If you don't want to be successful, then don't define your destination. Your destination is the life your business is being built to support. It includes income, but it's larger than income. It includes schedule, but it's larger than schedule. It includes the kind of work you want to create, the clients you want to serve, the energy you want to show or preserve, the relationships you want to protect, and the freedom you want this business to make possible. So the question that you may ask is not simply, what do I want? It's, what am I willing to let guide my decisions? What am I willing to allow my decisions to be influenced by? If your answer is comparison, by the way, no one would answer that question with comparison. They just do. They just make choices based on comparing with other photographers. I'm not saying you shouldn't ever do that. I'm saying if you're driving down the road and a cool car passes by and exits, that you don't exit too. You just keep on going. You observe that there's a cool car. but you keep on going to where you're headed. That's all I'm asking. If your answer is comparison, your business will keep shifting every time you see someone else doing something different that looks interesting. How about if the answer is fear? In that instance, your business will keep shrinking around the objections you're trying to avoid. If the answer is habit, just been doing it that way all along. I always do it that way. That's just me. Hmm. Your business will keep repeating choices that may not fit the life you're building. But if the answer is a clearly defined destination, then your decisions begin to work together. Your prices have a reason and you don't cave. Your client experience has purpose. Your marketing has direction. Your yes has meaning. And your no becomes so easy to recognize. That is the freedom to define your own destination. It's the decision to stop letting scattered influences govern your business and start building the life you're intentionally creating. You guys resonating with this? You hearing me? Does it make sense? Tell me yes in the comments. Hit that like button, hit that love button. That's what it's there for. I like seeing that interaction. And if you haven't already, enter in hashtag live, letting me know that you're watching the show live. Comment hashtag live. All right. Chapter 2. The freedom to price with purpose. Once you begin defining your own destination, pricing becomes one of the clearest signs of whether your business is being built with purpose or shaped by pressure, which a lot of businesses are, unfortunately. Every price in your business teaches your business how to operate. It influences how many clients you need, how much time you can spend with each client, what level of preparation you can afford to provide, how much energy you have left after the work's done, and whether the business can keep supporting you over time. Pricing is not only about what a client pays. Pricing affects the structure of the entire business. That's why the question is not simply, what should I charge? The better question is what does my business need to properly be supported? And what does my client need to receive that for that price to make sense? I'm going to read that again. I'm going to share that again. The better question compared to what should I charge is, what does my business need to be properly supported? And what does my client need to receive for that price to make sense? That question changes the conversation. Prices copied or compared to other photography businesses don't reflect your costs, your experience, your products, your client experience, your market position, your sales process, your available time, or the life your business is here to support. Another photographer's price may be perfectly reasonable for their road, the path that they're headed down, and be completely wrong for yours. If your prices were chosen because they felt safe, they may be protecting you from an uncomfortable conversation while quietly creating a business that is harder or possibly impossible to sustain. There are a large number, actually a vast majority of photographers who have a price that is so low that it is impossible to sustain. And they are totally unaware of it. Now, they may say, I need to raise my prices, but they don't know why. A price can feel easier to say and still be too low to support the time, the care, and the skill required to serve the client well. And you get to define what that means because it is different for every single photographer. Prices based around what you hoped people would accept may be giving too much authority to the fear of rejection. A client saying no is not automatically a sign that the price is wrong. Even a client saying your price is too high is not a sign that your price is wrong. It's just a sign that people have differences of opinion, but it could mean that client's just not the right fit, or maybe that you just didn't communicate your value clearly. Maybe your offer wasn't structured well, or the marketing reached someone who was just never going to have that level of value for your work. Pricing with purpose asks you to step back and look at the whole picture. What does it cost to run the business professionally? What does it cost in time, energy, preparation, skill, equipment, software, insurance, taxes, education, consultation, editing, ordering appointments, delivery, follow-up? There's a lot. What profit does the business need so it can continue serving clients well and supporting the life that you're building? For many, this also means separating the value of creating the session from the value of the finished work. Your creation fee should reflect the preparation, guidance, talent, planning, and professional experience that's required to create the session properly. Now, not everyone has a creation fee, and not everyone calls it that if they do. That's great. You have to find something that works. Your products and artwork should reflect the value of the finished photographs, the quality of the presentation, the way the portraits will be preserved, displayed, enjoyed. Custom portrait photographers do not sell time. Now, if you're doing mini sessions, then you're selling time, but that you're not being a custom portrait photographer at that moment. You're giving the same thing to multiple people. That's what a mini session is. Some people think mini session means a short session. Guys, a session is not based on time. A mini session is based on time. So you can't do one mini session unless it was an accident because no one signed up except for one. Mini session means there's multiple times involved. They're picking certain spots, but custom portrait photography is not selling time. Time's involved, of course, but the client is not simply buying minutes on a calendar. They are investing in professional guidance, meaningful photographs, finished work, and an experience that helps them receive portraits they will value. I mean, when pricing is reduced to time alone, it becomes too easy to understate the real value being created. And it makes it too easy to compare to other photographers who might not be doing exactly the same thing you are. In fact, what are the odds that they are doing exactly the same thing? Purposeful pricing also gives you more room to serve. When the business is priced properly, you can prepare better. You can communicate more clearly. You can guide the client with more confidence. You can deliver a stronger experience because the business is not depending on too many underpriced sessions to survive. Strong pricing does not pull you away from service. It gives service a structure that can last. If you feel pulled in all different directions and your schedule is full, there's some evaluation that needs to occur. This is where freedom becomes practical. The freedom to price with purpose, the freedom to stop asking, what will people be willing to spend? And start asking, what does this business need in order to serve well, profit honestly, and support the life I want to live? It means you look at your pricing with ownership, not comparison. You ask whether they were chosen consciously, your prices. You ask whether they support the client experience you promise. You ask whether your prices support the business model you're building. You ask whether your prices are leading you towards your destination. Your prices shouldn't insult your talent. I hear photographers comment about that all the time. People aren't willing to pay the prices necessary. It's because you're going after the wrong people. They should support your purpose. Your prices should support your purpose, your clients, your business, and the life you're building. Bottom line. You guys hearing me? You like this? You relating to it? Tell me in the comments. Let me know. You can just put the word yes. But if you haven't already, enter in hashtag live to let me know you're watching live. Hashtag live. I want to move to the next chapter. There's 5 chapters today. This is right in the middle. The freedom to serve the right clients. One way to think about client fit is to look at restaurants. Now, there's a lot of ways to make analogies and compare. This is one. A fine dining restaurant, a family diner, a food truck, a coffee shop. All can be excellent businesses. But they're built for different customers at different times, with different interests, with different expectations, with different price points, with different experiences. A person looking for a quick sandwich isn't wrong. And a person wanting a 3-course anniversary dinner isn't wrong. They are simply looking for different kinds of service. How is photography any different? Your photography business works the same way. Some clients want a quick session, a lower price, a gallery of files. That's where the business model for a mini session comes in. And maybe some custom portrait photographers actually do that occasionally. Some clients want guidance, planning, artwork, presentation, and portraits that become part of their home and family history. Neither one of those clients is wrong. Neither one is bad. But they are not asking for the same experience. And trying to serve both with the same business can create confusion for everyone and a much harder road for you. Can you imagine if coffee shops started selling steak? Come on. That is why client fit is a leadership decision. You're the leader. You're the business owner. The goal is not to convince every person who inquires with you that they should want what you offer. The goal is to build a business clear enough that the right people recognize it, value it, and feel confident choosing it. This is what magnetic marketing is all about. You're very much attracting those who really want what you do, but you're also repelling those who don't, so that you don't waste their time and they don't waste yours. The clients you serve influence your schedule, your energy, your creative decisions, your sales process, your referrals, your reputation, and the kind of work your business becomes known for. A business built around the right clients becomes clearer over time. A business built around every possible inquiry becomes harder to lead. This is not about judging people. It has nothing to do with that. It is about alignment. So there is discernment going on. A person can be wonderful and still be looking for something different from what your business is built to provide. They may want a lower price point. Great. They may want a faster process. Fine. Maybe they just want a different product altogether, or less guidance, more files, a style of service that just really doesn't match your business model. It doesn't make them wrong. It means they're probably not the client your business is designed to serve best. When you say yes to a client who wants something very different from what you're prepared to deliver, your work becomes harder. You're performing heroics, but a lot of times when you're performing heroics, it's not up to your standard. You put a whole lot of work into it, but it's not your norm. It's not your standard. Maybe you felt pressure to change your process. Maybe you felt pressure to change your price. Maybe you felt pressure to rush the timeline, the value, or create exceptions that really just lead to weakening the client experience. The client may feel frustrated because they expected something different. And you're going to be frustrated too. Both of you can be sincere and the fit still be wrong. The fact that you can see the difference means you're a step above a lot of other photographers. Because most are just grabbing every single thing they can get their hands on. I need the income. I hear you. But most photographers fail. And there's some very basic reasons why. The freedom to serve the right clients begins when you stop trying to make your business equally attractive to everyone. Your message, your pricing, your process, your artwork, and your client experience should make it easier for the right people to recognize that you're speaking to them. Your clear positioning doesn't push the right people away. It helps people decide whether your business is the right match for what it is that they value. Your right clients or ideal clients are the people who value the kind of work you create. They may need guidance with wardrobe, location, expression, artwork, display, posing. They may care deeply about preserving a relationship, a time in their life, a milestone of some sort, a family connection, or just a person that they love being around. They may not know exactly what they want at first, but they're open to being led by a professional, you. They're not simply looking for the quickest way to get photographs. They're looking for someone they can trust with something meaningful. Your kind of clients exist. They're already in your market. If you're talking about the bad things in your market, stop. Those aren't the things you're going for. Why are you spending any mental energy on them? Well, they just happen to just push me. No, you've put yourself in the wrong place. Your clients exist. They are already in your market. They may actually already be looking at you. But if your message is trying to appeal to everyone, well, no wonder they don't recognize that your business was built for them, was right for them. This is why client fit begins before any inquiries. It begins with the way you talk about your work, the examples you show, the words on your website, on your social media, the stories in your marketing, the confidence with which you explain the experience you provide. Saying yes becomes much easier when the right person is in front of you. Saying no becomes easier when the fit isn't right because it just makes sense. A gracious no is not rejection, it is leadership, it is business ownership. It protects your ability to serve the right clients well. And it can also help with the wrong fit person, helping them to find a photographer who's better suited for what they want. Yeah, you should be recommending other photographers. If you aren't doing that, and I'm not talking about based on time alone. Oh, my schedule's booked. Now I'm going to recommend another photographer. If that's the only time you're doing it, you've got a lot of effort that's still to go in this direction. Doesn't mean you're not working hard. You're probably working really hard. But maybe you don't have to be and wind up with better results. You know what? Sometime this week, either review or define your ideal client, that person who is just the right fit for you. And define it as one human, one person. I want you to be very specific about it. So much so that you would recognize them when they reach out to you. Don't stop at age, income, or location. Describe what they value. What is it they want to preserve? Why do portraits matter to them? What kind of guidance would they appreciate from you? What do they want the finished photographs to become? What would make them grateful that they chose you? And then look at your current marketing and ask this question. Does my ideal client know that I'm speaking to them? The freedom to serve the right clients is the freedom to build a business around the people that you are prepared to serve best. When your clients your process, your pricing, and your purpose are aligned, the business becomes much easier to lead and more meaningful to build. Hope you're enjoying this. Hope this is adding something to your understanding of what it is that you do. Because I want to move into chapter 4, where I talk about the freedom to believe and the value of the work you do. You know, in a quiet moment alone, a stoic man stands in front of a portrait of his mother and cries. A stoic man. Someone who doesn't show emotion very often stands in front of a portrait of his mother and cries. Now, let's talk about why. Why would he cry? Is it because of the paper that you printed it on, the canvas, the aluminum, whatever surface you printed it on? Is it because of that? No. Is it because of the frame? Come on. Is it because of the cool camera that made the image? Of course not. He cries because the portrait you created gives him something his memory cannot fully give him on his own. Her face, her expression, her presence in that moment. And you are powerful as a portrait photographer. That is the work you do. That is what you create. You photograph people on ordinary days, on days where there are meaningful moments or other joyful milestones. You also photograph them at fragile times. And maybe parts of their life that felt normal until later time revealed how precious they really were. The client may come to us just needing a family portrait, needing a senior portrait, maybe photograph of a child as they grow older. But the portrait may become much larger than the reason it was commissioned. You've defined your destination. You've priced with purpose and become clear about the clients you are best prepared to serve. But when a real person is in front of you, asking questions, hesitating, comparing, or wondering whether this is worth the investment, something deeper has to be inside you. You have to believe that your work has that kind of value where you can make a stoic man cry. Tears of joy, of course. That belief is grounded. It's the grounded understanding that portrait photography touches the lives of our clients. They see their child before that child changes again. I'm not going to say you see their child before the child changes again. You see the parent with tenderness. You see their spouse, their family, their own face, their own story, or a part of life that is already moving faster than they can hold. Portrait photographers create work that often outlives the reason it was commissioned. A family may come to you because a child is graduating, a baby was born, a parent is visiting, the kids are visiting, a milestone. Those are the immediate reasons. Those were the reasons why they thought of you. But the photograph may continue doing its work for decades. It may become the image a grown child remembers on the from the hallway when they were growing up. The portrait someone holds when hearing that person's voice is no longer possible. It's all part of the value. The people who come to you may ask about price, digital files, dates, clothing, turnaround time, or how long the session's going to take. Of course, those questions are practical. They deserve clear answers. But underneath many of those questions, you'll find something more meaningful. They may want to know whether you can help them preserve something they care about. They may not know to ask it that way. They may want to know whether they can trust you with the people they love. They may not ask it that way. They want to know whether this experience will become something they are grateful that they chose. They may not ask it that way. Now, maybe you only talk about time and number of images, file delivery, or what's included. Do you know how many ads I see that's about all that they talk about? Come on, guys. What you do is powerful. It has way more to do than the time you spend, the number of images you include, the turnaround time, what's included. Those are important variables, but they're the practical ones. That's not where the power is in what you do. You may rush past the deeper reason portraits matter because you're afraid it will sound too emotional, too expensive, too much. But if you reduce the work to its smallest parts, the client may never understand what they are actually being invited to receive. The freedom to believe in the value of your work is the freedom to speak about it honestly. It allows you to guide without apologizing. It allows you to explain your process with steadiness. It allows you to price the finished work with clarity. It allows you to help the client think beyond the appointment and consider what these portraits may mean in their home, in their family, and in the years ahead. In very few professions are tears of joy a natural part of the work. In very few professions do they hand a family something that may become more meaningful after the people in it have changed, moved away, grown older, or passed on. Photography does that. Portrait photography does that. What other business does? This is why belief matters. If you do not believe the work you do has value, you're going to struggle with everything about it. You're going to struggle with how to price it. You're going to struggle with how to explain it, how to protect it, how to sell it, how to lead the client through it. But when that belief becomes steady, your decisions carry a different kind of strength. Your pricing becomes easier to stand behind. Your client experience becomes easier to explain. Your marketing becomes more sincere. And yes, your yes or your no become cleaner because they are connected to the work you are here to create. You hearing this? Hit that love button, hit that like button if you're hearing something you like. Make a comment in the comment section. I bet some of this stuff is spurring other thoughts. Let me know about it. You know, I sometimes give an assignment or an action step or a homework assignment at this point. So let me share that with you. I want you to write down 3 ways your work continues to matter after the session is over. Which means you're not writing about your camera, your software, how many images you deliver, how much time it took. Write about what that client receives in life. What does the portrait help them remember or feel? What relationship does it honor? What part of life does it preserve? What might it mean to someone 20 years from now? And then I want you to read those answers before the next time someone reaches out to you. Maybe someone has just sent in a web form or sent you an email. Read your answers before you respond. Whether that's a phone call, a consultation, a sales appointment, a pricing conversation, an email response, whatever it is, let those things, those important things to you, remind you of what you're really talking about, what you actually do. The freedom to believe in the value of your work is the freedom to stop treating portrait photography as something small, insignificant, something that doesn't matter. Yes, there are people who believe that because they don't have that value yet. That's where client education comes in, though. It's up to you. It's up to all of us. This work touches lives well beyond right now, well beyond the sale, beyond the client who first commissioned it, and sometimes beyond the lifetime of the photographer who created it. That kind of work deserves to be led with conviction. So I want you to declare your independence. I want you to write your Declaration of Independence. I'm going to help you with it. A declaration is more than a strong sentence. It's a decision put into words. We've talked about the freedom to define your own destination, the freedom to price with purpose, the freedom to serve your ideal clients or right clients or the clients that have the best fit. You can define it however you want to. I like ideal. And the freedom to believe in the value of your work. Those ideas are useful only if they lead to ownership. At some point, the thinking has to become a decision. Your Declaration of Independence, or the Declaration of Independence, gives a helpful teaching tool because it was not only a statement about what needed to change, it was also a statement about what the future would be built on. It names a direction, it gave a language to decision, it made invisible things visible. That's what I want you to do for your photography business. Your Declaration of Independence does not need to be long. It does not need to sound formal. It doesn't need to be written in cursive. It does not need to impress anyone. It just needs to be clear enough that you can return to it when you're feeling off. Maybe your pricing's feeling uncomfortable. Maybe when the wrong client wants to bend your process and you're feeling tempted. When comparison tries to pull your attention away, or when doubt tries to make your work feel smaller than it is. This is not a promise that everything becomes easy. You still have to drive the road it takes to get there. At least you won't be on the wrong road, though. A declaration does not remove difficulty. It gives you direction when difficulty shows up. It gives you language when you're tempted to drift. It reminds you that your business is not here to chase every opportunity, to please every person, or to follow every road. Your business is a tool to help you reach your ideal life. I want you to listen to these declarations I'm about to read to you. And those that resonate with you, I want you to rewrite them in your own words. Now, you won't be able to keep up with me on this. You're going to have to watch the replay, which is great that they exist. This is episode number 278, so there's a lot of them. I'm going to give you several examples of declarations. Keep the ones that speak to you. Change the parts that need to sound more like you, and add the specific decisions your business needs right now. Here they are. I declare that my photography business exists to support the life I am intentionally building. That means my business will be shaped by direction, not reaction. I will not build from fear, comparison, pressure, or the assumptions I have never even bothered to question. I will build from a clearer understanding of where I'm going. Here's another. I declare that my prices will be chosen with purpose. They will reflect the cost of doing business professionally, the level of service I provide, the value of the finished work, and the life my business is designed to support. I will stop treating price as a nervous guess and start treating it as part of the structure that allows me to serve my ideal clients well. Here's another one. I declare that I will seek and serve the clients I am best prepared to serve. I will make my message, process, pricing, and client experience clear enough that the right people can recognize the value of what I create. When the fit is not right, I will release that opportunity with gratitude, knowing that a gracious no can protect the business I am building and help the client find a better fit for what they want. Here's another one. I declare that portrait photography has value beyond the appointment, beyond the sale, and beyond the original reason the portrait was commissioned. The work I create may help someone remember a face, honor a relationship, preserve a meaningful part of life, or hold on to something time would otherwise keep moving away from. I speak about the value with honesty and lead my clients with conviction. Here's another one. I declared that I do not need everyone to understand my work in order for my work to matter. I do not need every inquiry to become a client in order for my business to be healthy. I do not need to copy another photographer's business in order to build one that serves my life, my clients, and my purpose. Here's another one. I declare that I am responsible for the road I choose. If my destination is unclear, I will define it more clearly. If my prices do not support my business, I will examine them honestly. If my message is attracting the wrong clients, I will refine it. If I am shrinking back from the value of my work, I will return to the truth of what portraits can mean in real life. All right, that's enough examples. I want you to make it your own. Maybe your declaration is about pricing. Maybe it's about no longer accepting clients who do not value your process. Maybe it's about finally showing your work with confidence. Maybe it's about believing that what you create deserves a real business behind it. Once you've done that, I want you to do one more thing. Choose one action that proves that you mean it. Change one sentence on your website. Review the price, package, or policy that is making the life you're building harder to reach. Rewrite one inquiry response so it leads more clearly. Define one ideal client, your one ideal client definition or description more specifically. Prepare for one sales conversation by reminding yourself what the portrait may mean long after the session is over. A declaration becomes real when it begins shaping decisions. That is the point of this episode. Not simply to feel inspired for a few minutes, but to take ownership of the business that you're building. Define the destination, price with purpose, serve the right clients for you. Believe in the value of your work, then put the decision in writing and let it guide the road ahead. That is your declaration of independence. Lens Legends, I'm about to close out this lesson. And as soon as I do, I'm going to tell you what the upcoming shows are going to be about. And they will be equally as intriguing as this one. Maybe more so for some of you. But let me close out this one before I get to what's coming. Lens Legends, by the way, that's you if you haven't watched the show. That's what I call my audience, Lens Legends. Lens Legends, as we close today, I want to bring this back to the decision that's in front of you. A declaration marks the moment when you stop drifting and choose your direction. That is what this episode has been about. Freedom in your photography business, because when you haven't chosen your direction, you are handing authority to everything that was never meant to govern your future, such as comparison, fear, comparison-based pricing, clients that drain your creative energy tank, and that voice that tells you your work is smaller than it is, or that you're doing it wrong. Your business is a tool to help you reach your ideal life. That means your decisions deserve to be made with care. Your destination deserves to be defined. Your pricing deserves to support the life that you want to live. Your clients deserve to be served by a business clear enough to lead them well. And your work deserves to be spoken about with conviction. A portrait can become part of the way a family remembers love. It can become the image a child carries into adulthood, the face someone reaches for when memory needs help, the photograph that grows more meaningful as time moves on. That is what you're working with, not paper, not digital files, not minutes on a calendar. People, relationships, memory, evidence that someone was here, that they were loved, that this part of life mattered. So as you leave this episode, leave with a decision. Write your Declaration of Independence. Put words to the business you're building, the life that it's meant to support, the clients you're here to serve, the prices that you need to sustain all of that, and the value of the work you create. Then choose one action that proves you mean it. The right roads may not become easy, but once you know where you're going, they become easier to recognize. They begin to stand out from all other roads that were never yours to travel. They begin to glow. That's your work now. Define the destination. Take back the authority. Build the business with purpose. Serve the people you're meant to serve. Believe in the value of what you create. Then drive. That is your Declaration of Independence. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Let me tell you about what's coming. As you know, the Portrait Profit Show happens every single Monday. So let me tell you what's coming. In 1 week from today, and I'll put this up on the screen. Actually, in 1 week from today, I have a speaker that has not confirmed. So I can't tell you what happens in 1 week from today. But in 2 weeks from today, that's July 13th, July 20th. And I'll put that up on there we go. This one is called From Card to Confidence. This is episode number 280. You know, you finish the session. The images, you feel like they look great. The client's excited. Now what? For many photographers, the next few steps are handled by habit rather than by system. Files get copied, cards get set aside, drives fill up, and everyone hopes everything is where it's supposed to be when you need it. Let's talk about what happens after the session and before the editing begins, because confidence comes from knowing exactly where your files are, knowing that they're protected, and being able to move to what happens next easily. From card to confidence. 1 week after that, on July 27th, and let's see, there we go, is why beautiful images don't bring inquiries. Now, sometimes they do, but there's times when you've posted some really beautiful images and gotten really no response. Beautiful portrait images get people to pause. But how you convey what you do helps clients understand why they should hire you. We'll look at how to convey the meaning, care, experience, and value behind your custom portrait photography so the right clients have a strong reason to inquire. And I'll tell you about one more. This one is the first week of August. And this is called the Water Method, WATER, Water Method. You need income now, not some vague directive to market more. You need a practical path that you can act on today. The Water Method is a same-day action plan for creating one real client conversation by going where movement is already most likely. It's simple and it works. The Water Method. Put that on your calendar. Put all of those on your calendar. You are busy. You've got a lot of things going on in your life. It is really easy to forget something like a podcast, a live stream, unless you put it on your calendar. Put the Profit Show, put the Portrait Profit Show on your calendar. It happens every single Monday at noon, with one exception. The second Monday of each month, I do move it to 6:30 in the evening. And that's because I usually have a speaker or a panel on. And it's just easier to get people on the show in the evening than it is during the middle of the day. That's the reason for it. Lens Legends, thank you for joining me for this episode of the Portrait Profit Show. My hope is that today's lesson stays with you longer than a holiday weekend, longer than a patriotic graphic, longer than a good idea written in your notes. And it will last longer if you define the destination, you take back authority, you build the business with purpose. You serve people who you are meant to serve, and you believe in the value that you create. Then you get on that road and drive. Thank you, Lens Legends, for your time and attention here today. And thank you for the hard work you put into building a photography business that really matters, really makes a difference. I look forward to seeing you next Monday. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, I'm Jim Landers, and this is the Portrait Profit Show. I look forward to watching you grow. You are awesome. I really appreciate you. Bye for now.